This is the emptiest place on Earth. No trees, no cities, no sound but wind. But everything you are looking at is a lid. Underneath this ice sits a landscape nobody has ever seen with their own eyes. Mountain ranges, canyons deeper than the Grand Canyon, and lakes that have been sealed off from the sky for millions of years. The ice above them is, in places, nearly 3 miles thick. Antarctica holds about 70% of the planet's fresh water, frozen solid. Its ice sheet is so heavy that it has physically pressed the bedrock beneath it downward, in some regions by more than half a kilometer. The continent is being crushed by its own weather, and that weight explains why the land underneath stayed hidden for so long. You cannot dig through 2 or 3 kilometers of ice to go sightseeing. For most of the 20th century, the interior was simply a blank space on the map. But the thing that changed everything was the arrival of radar. Aircraft began flying grid patterns across the continent, firing radio waves down through the ice. Some bounced off the surface, others punched through and reflected back off whatever was at the bottom, and the delay between those echoes drew a picture of the ground below. The first images stunned the people who made them. Buried in the middle of the continent is a mountain range called the Gombortsev Mountains. They are roughly the size of the European Alps, sharp peaks, deep valleys, the works, and they are completely invisible, entombed under kilometers of ice. Their existence is a genuine scientific puzzle. Mountains form where tectonic plates collide, but the Gombortsevs sit in the middle of an ancient stable slab of crust where nothing has collided for a very long time. Instead, they are pristine, because the ice arrived and froze them in place before erosion could finish the job. Not far away lies something even stranger. A rift called the Denman Trough plunges to around 3.5 kilometers below sea level. That makes it the deepest point on any continent on the planet, deeper than the lowest dry land anywhere else, and utterly unreachable. Now the part that changes how you picture Antarctica entirely. At the bottom of all that ice, there is liquid water. Scientists have mapped more than 400 lakes down there. They do not freeze, for 2 reasons working together. The crushing pressure of the ice above lowers the freezing point, and heat leaking from the Earth's interior warms them from below. The largest is Lake Vostok, roughly the size of Lake Ontario, sitting under about 4 kilometers of ice. Here is what makes it extraordinary. That lake has been sealed off from the atmosphere for an estimated 15 million years. No sunlight has touched it, no air. It has been running as a closed system since long before our species existed. When Russian teams finally drilled down to it in 2012, the samples they brought up contained genetic traces of bacteria, including some sequences that did not match anything in existing databases. Contamination from the drilling fluid remains a live debate, and the question is not settled. But the possibility hanging over it is enormous. An ecosystem that evolved in total isolation, in the dark, cut off from the rest of life on Earth. This is precisely why space agencies watch Antarctic research so closely. Jupiter's moon Europa and Saturn's moon Enceladus are both wrapped in thick ice shells, with oceans of liquid water underneath, kept warm by internal heating rather than sunlight. That is the same arrangement as Lake Vostok, scaled up. If life turns out to survive in a lightless lake buried under 4 kilometers of Antarctic ice, the argument that it could survive under Europa's shell becomes far harder to dismiss. Antarctica has effectively become the test case for whether life needs a sky at all. The ice itself is also an archive. Every year, snow falls and compacts, trapping tiny bubbles of air. Each bubble is a sealed sample of the atmosphere from the day it formed. Drill down and extract a core, and you are pulling out a timeline, a physical record of Earth's air stretching back hundreds of thousands of years. Researchers can read the temperature of a specific century or measure how much carbon dioxide the atmosphere carried during an ice age. Nowhere else on the planet preserves that history so completely. Antarctica has been quietly keeping notes on the entire climate of the Earth, and only recently did we learn to read them. Most of that hidden landscape has still never been directly observed. We know the shape of the mountains from radar echoes and the lakes from measurements taken through kilometers of ice. It is the least explored territory left on the surface of this planet, and it is sitting right here on Earth, under a lid we can barely drill through. There is an entire continent beneath our feet that nobody has ever laid eyes on. Make sure to follow for more facts nobody ever taught you in school.